Welcome back to St. Augustine's Confessions. This one is going to be what I found in Book 2, some interesting quotes on sex and lust. And you'll find this to be a repeating theme throughout St. Augustine's life. Sex was one of his biggest struggles. And it is for a lot of people because nature hath willed it so. So he writes here, I could not discern the clear brightness of love from the fog of lustfulness. And that's right, it's a fog created by nature. It's dopamine, it's oxytocin, all those love chemicals that wash over you when you're in lust or love with somebody. And so hard to discern. So hard to discern. One of the key factors that I've heard once is love at first sight. Love at first sight is usually a sign that you should run away as fast as you can. Because I've heard that once. And I found that very fascinating. Perhaps that's the indicator that you're in lust and not in love. Whatever the case, nature demands sexual satisfaction. It demands sexual action. And if you do not bargain with nature in some way, if you do not participate in some way, then you will pay for it. Now let me say this quote and then I'll talk more about what I mean. It is good for a man not to touch a woman, and he that is unmarried thinketh of the things of the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he that is married careth for the things of this world, how he may please his wife. Choose the Lord or choose your wife. But here's the thing. Some people hear this and they might, as a virgin, just bypass it all and go straight to celibacy. But you, unless you're in a specific 1/100th of a percent, 99.99% of people need to burn off the karma and not just cut it off instantly. And when I say burn it off, I mean go through it. The best way out is through. Look at the life of St. Augustine if you do not believe this. He had mistresses. He had tons of sexual exploits. He ran wild in his teenage years from age 16 onward until his late 20s. He was completely a sexual maniac. It was a big struggle for him. And would you say to him at 16, you know what? Cut this all off. You cannot do any of this. No. Think about it. Nature demands it, so he would go through all types of neuroses, perhaps psychoses, depressions, anxieties for stifling the sexual energy. But no, because he actually expressed it in the world, well, he evolved, he matured, and he was able to eventually get past the stage of sexual expression in his late 20s or 30s or so, and was able to fully commit to celibacy without any lingering curiosities. This is a mistake that some people make when thinking about celibacy. What they do is they just want to jump. They just want to jump rope. That's a horrible analogy. They want to jump over the river of vice. They want to jump over the river of vice straight to the virtuous bank, the virtuous moat, if you will, and be completely protected from the vice. Again, nature demands that you express yourself unless you're that 1/100th of a percent who was born to be a monk. And if you are that person, then perhaps you won't be watching this video. Perhaps you won't. Now, Augustine writes there, again in frustration during this time of sexual craziness. He says, dare I say that thou heldest thy peace, O my God, while I wandered further from thee? He's saying, why did you just stand back and let me be in this blender, this whirlwind of sexual temptation, release, and misery? Why did you just let it happen? Well, think about this, my viewer. If Augustine didn't go through this, would we have this great work of literature? Would we have this great work of literature to read about the depths of his soul, about his struggle with sexual temptation, so that we may relate ourselves? No. Maybe that's why God lets certain things happen. Maybe that's why God lets certain things happen, so that we may heal fully Again, not trying to jump directly over the river, but to go through it on our little canoe and come on the other side and be able to help people get their canoe across too. So, to conclude this, let's go back to being mired in it, mired in concupiscence, in this lust. Concupiscence is a word that's used often. He says, I ran headlong with such blindness that amongst my equals I was ashamed of a less shamelessness when I heard them boast of their flagitiousness. Flagitiousness meaning criminal or villainous acts or behaviors. We got concupiscence and flagitiousness. These are some solid vocab words. But yes, he said, we were ashamed not to be shameless. You brag with your friends at that age over who can be the most shameless. And that's just what happens at that age. Don't guilt yourself. Do not guilt yourself for doing what nature has designed you to do. Because eventually, you'll move past it, God willing, if that is the path for you. If not, well then just enjoy life. That's the best that I can think of when analyzing St. Augustine's Confessions in this book too. We will see you for another video coming up very soon.